Good evening once more. My name is John. I belong to the small-time illustration brand Toonstop. We specialize in character design and mindset and discipline help for the small artist. We went over this housekeeping item already. We do have, we went over this housekeeping already. Today I'd like to talk to you about my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. But that's on a strictly volunteer basis, separate from the panel. Today's topic is going to be guiding principles for Patreon as an artist. I do want to make one quick disclaimer. This is not going to be a Patreon tutorial. That is to say, actually operating Patreon as a software, as an app. They do pretty well at teaching people how to use their own stuff. What we're going to talk about is three big things: what you need, what you can sell, and what you should charge. Just some business principles that not everybody is going to have at the forefront when they decide they want to play with Patreon. Now, if you want Patreon to work, the first thing you're going to have four header things you're going to need first: strong free content, a strong update schedule, viable audience volume, and premium content worth the money. Things you can start building up completely separate from even opening the Patreon up. When I say strong free content, there's a reason for that, and I would love to talk to you. We're going to have a Q&A session in the second half of the panel. You're more than welcome to take as many pictures as you like. We also have this in the form of articles on my website.
I didn't get the first one. Can you come back?
Sure. And like I said, everything we're going to go over today, we also have in the form of articles on my website. You can go back and review that at your leisure, and I'm going to try to have video available after the convention. Yeah, so strong free content. This is basically what you do to buy your subscribers. This is the bait. When you go fishing for people to get on your Patreon, your free content is the bait. Every great Patreon creator is already doing cool stuff for free, and they have a library of free cool stuff, not just a few things. When people are seeing cool stuff for free, they naturally want to give their money to that cause because they feel like their life is being made better by that free stuff. So they want that stuff to stay around. In addition to the strong free content, your free content and your paid content needs to have a strong update schedule. When people become a subscriber, it's basically like when you pay for National Geographic. When you pay that whoever knows how many dollars a month for National Geographic, you expect that issue to be in your mailbox once every month. This is how you build the trust. Become dependable, become expected, post consistently enough to buy mental real estate, and post categorically consistent material. So stay on topic, stay around, post on a regular schedule. You want your people to trust you when they give you your money. You want your people to trust you before you even give them your money. This is how you do that. Say when you're going to show up, and then show up. And just stay on topic. Deliver the stuff that you promised. Now, you've got your cool free content. You've got your update schedule. People trust you. Next, you're going to need viable audience volume. I forgot to bring the data with me, but enough people need to know about you in order for Patreon to make sense. On my website, I have an infographic with the conversion rate. Conversion rate is basically what percentage of people inside a given traffic system are going to come over and start giving you money instead of being free. And I think Twitter was something in the way of about 2% of Twitter followers become paying customers, as an example. And they've done homework about this that, again, I should have put the graph in my slideshow, but that's an excuse for you to pay a visit to the website. Enough people need to know about you. You need to have a big enough audience because only a percentage of your viewers are going to become buyers. And building up a viable audience volume is going to take time, effort, and consistency. Now, if you've only got 500 followers on your Twitter and your Instagram, for example, it might be possible to get all of them spending money. But that's a good luck buddy type situation right there. So you have your viable audience volume, you're posting on schedule, you've got cool free content to lure people in. Now you need premium content that's worth the money. And that takes us into the second segment of the conversation. What can you sell? What can you sell? There's two categories when it comes to your Patreon content of what you can sell. There's your non-scalable, which are things that are going to require, they're going to have a hard time requirement every time you sell them. And then there's your scalable, which is basically you can reproduce that infinitely with minimal time cost to you, and that just distributes out automatically to people when they pay the money. Your non-scalables are your commissions and your access to you. So if you want to have a cool guys club on your Patreon because you're a bad enough dude to charge money for the privilege of speaking to you. And your commissions, which is just custom work, which takes hard time. Scalable things would be items like teaching material, exclusive content like secret chapters of your comic, secret chapters of your Smash Brothers fan fiction, exclusive merchandise, and premium community. Now, with your commissions, the pros of that is that it's an easy string of work if you can get enough people subscribed and stuck on there, and you'll encounter new cool ideas to draw on the regular. But the cons is going to be it's a massive time investment if you have a lot of customers doing these commissions, and if you price your commission tier too low, you're going to work yourself to death. Please don't do that. I know life is hard, but I still would love for you to be around, so the world has beautiful art. Please. Access to you, the next non-scalable thing you can offer as a Patreon. One-on-one time with serious people. So if you're a teacher type, if you have a lot of artistic experience that's good for people to know about, you can use Patreon as a platform to do one-on-one coaching time. And in the process of teaching other people, you're going to learn cool things because you're spending the time to wrap your head back around the stuff you know well enough in order to pass it on to other people. The cons here, you might have some one-on-one time with serious weirdos. And again, this is massive time investment for each Patreon you have this given to, so price it good. Price it well. Now we get to talk about the scalable stuff, the stuff that can repeat automatically separate from you with a little bit less time commitment. The first is going to be teaching material. You've probably seen artists who have their PDF, their PSDs, their CSP files, or time-lapse or full-length recordings of their creative process. You can do this too if you know something that somebody else doesn't. The pros of teaching material, you most likely know something other people don't, and most people are willing to pay at least a little bit for relevant knowledge. The advent of free education on YouTube does make that a little bit of a challenge, but if you have the right knowledge for the right person, it's going to be worth money to them. And you can record and sell or give away this knowledge pretty easily. You record it once, it's there, it's ready to go, it distributes infinitely. The cons of the teaching material, you're going to have to spend time specifically on the teaching material and not on the drawing. You'll have to go in, you'll have to explain your process, you'll have to get your head around stuff that you know intuitively but may not have verbalized. And critical thinking, it just hurts a little bit. It's worthwhile, but it does hurt. After the teaching material, we have the exclusive content. The pros of that is just the natural sense of, haha, I'm in the club and you're not. I get to see the cool exclusive comics and you don't. Everybody loves to be in on something not readily available to the public. That's why first class exists in the airplane. Content items, your video, your comics, your music, your source file, exclusive behind-the-scenes material. There's all kinds of stuff you can pack in there that you're probably making already when it comes to the exclusive content. It's not very difficult to do. The cons here is that you're going to have to put in a lot of extra work and have that much more material in order to have a standing and building library of exclusive things for people to get into. After this, we have exclusive merch. Exclusive objects are even better than exclusive information. People love shiny things. If you're a big enough deal, it's not that difficult to get into just a little bit of cool merchandise and have something really nice for people to enjoy as a consequence of investing their money in you. The cons for merchandise is that getting merchandise is expensive. It's a pretty big upfront cost. A run of 72 t-shirts, for example, and that's one color, costs about $900. One color nice cotton t-shirts, and that's from a decent printer. It can take a lot of planning, and it can take a lot of logistics. Like, you may not be able to manufacture something in the States. You may not be able to have your pins or your keychains or certain kinds of exclusive merchandise made in the States just because it's cost prohibitive, because we like to practice something resembling workers' rights here. And there's lots of logistics. Like, if you have to have something shipped overseas, you're going to be waiting a long time to have it, and you're going to have to pass that wait along to the customer, which can be kind of a bummer if you're not willing to just get the product and have it. After exclusive merch, we have exclusive community. So this is kind of overlapped with the one-on-one view time. You can have not just one-on-one teaching, but you can have a closed community of people around a certain topic. I used to be inside a subscribers-only business community so I could learn things about what math makes sense, learn things about planning for events, planning for merchandise, production just within my own creative business. That was worth it to me. I was only inside there for 2 months, but I got in, I talked to great people, I learned as much as I could. But the cons with creative community, you have to have an idea that's worth filtering people out with the use of money. You have to be teaching some really good stuff, and you have to have people inside that community who are also high quality individuals with things to share and with things to teach, if this is where you want to go. So we have your keys in terms of your prerequisites for Patreon. We have ideas for what we can sell. Now we want to know, how much do I charge? The nice thing is I have a mathematical formula. Annual income. You have to start with your annual income, and you build the annual income number. You build that out from your money to live on, which is your food, your taxes, your rent, and your bills. You want to factor in the money you need to save, and you want to factor in the money required to run your businesses. So the internet you might pay for, if you pay for Dropbox, if you pay for materials for products or your art supplies, you want to factor those costs in. Patreon specific expenses, so anything exclusive to the Patreon, like your Dropbox, like your exclusive products, and the Patreon fees themselves. It's a lot of numbers to collect, but these numbers are all things you can collect and factor in and turn into a number you want for an annual income. The total money you want to make each year is the foundation of your pricing structure. Gather up all your expenses, both your personal and your business expenses. As an example, I used a figure of $80,000 per year. This is a pretty comfortable number when I originally came up with my Patreon article and the math that was involved in determining good money to charge. So that would be $6,700 a month, which breaks down to 6,700 monthly $1 donors, 1,340 monthly $5 donors, or 610 monthly $11 donors. And there's a reason I chose those numbers specifically. Now, the more expensive rewards means you don't have to sell as many of those rewards to make your rent. But if you're going to charge a higher price, you need to be dealing some cool stuff. You got to turn into an absolute baller. The price of your rewards has to reflect how it serves the needs or the wants of your audience. And having good tiers of rewards can help you capture different levels of sales to help meet your goals. Raise your hand if you've heard of the service Gumroad. Okay, so we know a little bit about Gumroad. That's a common platform that people use to sell ebooks or sell teaching material. Ryan Delk is one of the people who started Gumroad, and he uses something called the Delk scale. Your 1x, your 2.2x, and your 5x, and I put 11x in there because that's 5 times 2.2. The number makes sense to me anyway. So you could take the things that we had and plug them into the Delk scale. 1x is your early or exclusive access. 2.2x is your private community and direct resource education. 5x is the exclusive merchandise, and 11x is going to be your own time. So that would be your commissions tier or your one-on-one coaching tier. Where this goes, the dollars, hours in your life, you want to build something you can unplug from. We want to turn those scale numbers into dollar numbers that you can unplug from and that sustains your life, that gives you a fair exchange for more your work. You need to know your limits. It's very common for people to get started in creative work, get started doing a Patreon, and charging far too little money and killing themselves as a result of it. There's nothing wrong with taking a little bit less money because it's something you care about and something you want to do, but don't die in the name of your craft. If you die in the name of your craft, you can't make things. So as an example, if we wanted to do $6,700 a month and we did that across 60 customers, I have it broken down in this case, 60 customers paying $28 a week, which I know is a little bit inflated, a little bit high, but it was the easiest way to break it down and make it make sense. So the $28 is the 2.2 number, and then everything else is built off of that. The $13 a week is the 1 times number, the $65 a week becomes the 5 times number, and the $143 becomes the 11 times number. If we did that as a monthly, $52 a month, $110 a month, $260 a month, and $572 a month. These are all example numbers. And I'd love to chat with you about that. We still got the Q&A session at the end. Is it... What's up?
I just wanted to ask.
Yeah.
Because I'm using this as a reference point, so I don't know if I'm wrong.
Okay.
If you say that that's a little bit inflated from like what it normally is, then what would you say?
That's pretty contextual to what seems viable for you as a creator. You have to do that based on your audience, you have to do it based on your bills, and you have to do it based on what makes sense for what you're going to offer. Right. Yeah. And that's the funny thing about it. You have to set your own reference point. That's where you come in with the annual income. That's where you come in with the monthly income, and you plug it into what makes sense for what makes sense for the audience you have, and what kind of conversion you expect to have from that audience. The biggest thing is to set the goal you need and then work for it. Don't worry about your competition. Be incredibly grounded into what you want and who you're going to serve. Know what kind of customer you want to serve and work until you make the numbers you want. Don't dive in with no plan and no backup. Patreon is one of those things where it's better to transition to it and have it as a part-time separate from your full-time and build up subscribers over time. This happens as the result of intentional, consistent effort over a period of time as you build an audience with things that you know are going to reach people. You want to set valid rewards, like offer things that people want. Offer things that make sense for people to pay for. Set prices that meet your needs and satisfy the right customers. Sometimes you are going to have a service that needs to charge a little bit higher. Don't be ridiculous, but set a price that is respectful of both you and your customer. And with your prices, offer great things. Offer things that absolutely wow the person that's going to spend the money. The figure I like to use is if someone is going to spend $15, for example, make them feel $45 good. Make them feel 3 times as good as the money they're going to spend. And do the work to get all the customers you need, which happens over time. Doing consistent work, doing consistent provision for your patrons, building a consistent and larger and better quality of library over time. And I recognize that this can be a little bit nebulous, but this is a set of values that's intended to plug into your life based on what you know how to make, what you need out of your life, based on how you know you can serve your customers. In mind of that, this is the part of the show where we get to talk about questions. This segment is going to be private between me and you. But you, dear viewer, I'd love to hear your questions down in the comments. We'll talk soon. I'd love to hear from you. Take care.